I knew this place was special. I heard it from my parents, my friends, and all the people I met when I first came to campus. You look around, and the beauty that surrounds you makes you feel right at home. The people that you meet along the way become your family. Here, purple and white really are more than our school colors. During my journey at K-State, the biggest discovery has been how every day I find more reasons to believe that I can make a difference and be a part of something bigger than myself. This place is truly special. And the memories that I have made here will be with me forever. Now, I do know a spot that I love full well.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. My name is Darrington Clark, and a very warm welcome to the launch of our exciting new campaign for K-State, Innovation and Inspiration. I feel so honored to be asked to be a part of this evening and to play host to you all, and so grateful to be here because only a couple months ago I wasn't sure if I would be able to return to K-State for my senior year. But thanks to the incredible generosity of people like you, I'm able to be back to continue my education and here tonight to thank you all in person. K-State has shaped me in so many ways. It is a part of who I am. When somebody asked me how K-State has shaped my future, I said it was easier to think about how it hasn't. Everything I know about myself, I learned here at K-State. I can't imagine who I would be if I didn't go here. For me, being at K-State can ultimately be described in one word: opportunity. More than anything, I've been so blessed to receive the chances that I have and for the opportunities to do the things that I've been able to do. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, but I really found myself during my years here in Manhattan going to K-State. I loved the opportunities that I got from writing for the Collegian. I enjoyed taking the stage and the rush and emotions for my first collegiate production, and I loved being exposed to different cultures and philosophies and ideas, exactly what I would have hoped for in a college experience. But I still had to deal with the burden of out-of-state tuition, and that added an extra layer of stress to my academic career that I couldn't unburden myself from. I had exhausted my options in terms of grants, loans, and academic-specific aid. So by the time this fall semester was coming into view, I didn't know how I would continue going to school here. But I was saved and allowed to finish my senior year thanks to the generous philanthropic funding, and that is why I'm standing here today. And now, opportunity is abundant for me, and I'm happy and proud to be a leader in several student organizations on campus, and I am appearing as Ebenezer Scrooge in K-State's musical A Christmas Carol right here on this stage. Tonight is a celebration of everything we are, everything we have achieved together, and everything we're still looking forward to as we face 2025. Everyone at K-State has a unique story to tell, and I'm thrilled just to be here to share a little bit of mine. But now, I would like to introduce my co-host for the evening to share her own story. Ladies and gentlemen, Rebecca Jenkins.
Hello. Hi. Hi, Darrington.
Hi, Rebecca. Welcome. You have never done anything on the McCain stage before, have
I
you?
sure haven't.
Okay, well then how are you feeling? Are you excited, nervous?
I am excited. I'm also very nervous. I know
Okay.
there's some familiar faces out there, so hello.
Well, I think you're absolutely going to be fine. But
Okay.
before I let you be out here on your own, why don't we just go through a couple of things that I've learned training
Yes,
here
I would
in
love
theater.
that.
Yeah?
Please help.
Great?
Yes.
Okay, so I think something that's really important when you're speaking to a crowd as big as this and filling a space as big as this is to really have good breath support.
Absolutely.
So why don't we do something, it's called a motor, and it's just going to make sure you're just really in touch with your breath. It's going to be just like this.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, that's good, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Good, okay, so you're in touch with your breath. Now let's do a couple of little tongue twisters to make sure your tongue and lips are nice and loosened up.
Okay.
Repeat after me. Unique K-State.
Unique K-State.
Good. You need unique K-State.
You need unique K-State.
You know you need unique K-State.
You know you need unique K-State.
You know you need unique K-State.
Are the hands important?
The hands are necessary.
Okay. You know you need unique K-State.
Fabulous. She's ready for you, everybody. Thank you, Rebecca
Thank you
Jenkins.
so much, Darrington. Hi, everyone. I'm standing here, looking at you, looking at me, which is a little intimidating, but that's beside the point. I want you to look at your neighbors and think about all the different backgrounds and stories and cultures, relationships that each of us has as individuals. As a young adult, I began to realize this, and I became very interested in exploring everything I could about our unique cultures, histories, and stories. Kansas State not only gave me the chance to do that, but pushed me to do so. When I first came to K-State, I really thought I knew what I wanted to do with my life. But, like many college freshmen, I was completely wrong about that. As I started my freshman year, I knew I had a lot of interests, but I really had no idea what I wanted to major in or what I might want to do with the rest of my life. Luckily, I was placed with a scholarship in an all-year leadership class. And throughout this leadership class, I got to learn about inequality and injustice facing the world. And I got to think about what my role was in some of the social problems facing our society. I also learned about something called social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurs are people that are coming up with innovative ways to tackle some of the world's largest social problems. I became fascinated by this idea, and I wanted to learn more. I discovered an organization called Ashoka that works with social entrepreneurs. I also discovered that they have a conference each year to discuss social entrepreneurship and social innovation, and I became determined to attend. Unfortunately, the conference was way out of my price range. Luckily, earlier in the semester, the individual who gave the scholarship for me to participate in the leadership came and spoke with our class about how if any of us ever had an idea or project that we wanted to pursue, we could submit a proposal and she would consider funding us. I decided to give it a shot. I submitted my proposal and she was more than willing to help me get to the conference. I attended the conference and I learned more than I ever thought I would, and I became even more interested in Ashoka's work. This led me to an internship with him this summer in Washington, D.C. And now I have some skills and tools I might need for my future pursuing social entrepreneurship. After my leadership class sophomore year, I decided that I wanted to get more involved in service on campus, which led me to the Alternative Breaks program. Alternative Breaks is an opportunity for students to serve in communities across the United States while also gaining insights about social issues. This really resonated with me, and I decided I wanted to apply to coordinate the program. I was accepted, and I've been coordinating ever since. This experience has given me so much experience with leadership and thinking about community engagement and what service really means. Throughout all of these experiences, my desire to learn and explore was truly sharpened, and as my junior year approached, I decided I wanted to study abroad. I had spent so much time learning about the world, I wanted to go experience it. So, because of a generous scholarship, I was able to study abroad in Ecuador last semester. Studying abroad in Ecuador truly changed my life. It showed me the power of stepping outside of my comfort zone and the wisdom gained by hearing other stories. So here I am, standing at my senior year, and while that is pretty weird, I know that I still might not know what I'm going to do or exactly what my career is. I'm applying for some jobs, and I recently got engaged, so thank you. So I'm piecing together a little bit, but I can rest assured knowing that these events and experiences have left a mark on me. They've shaped me and helped me develop a clearer path. K-State touched me by showing me that it is not only okay, but crucial to explore and learn. And so now, as I look out at all of you, I'm a little less intimidated and more overwhelmed knowing that each and every one of you made my story possible. If it wasn't for the students, faculty, staff, donors, friends, alumni of K-State, Kansas State is just a set of buildings. But it isn't because of the people that make it great. Giving back to Kansas State is an inspiring and powerful cycle. I can now look forward to my future when my fiance, David, hi David, and I can give back to K-State together and come back and visit this place. As I think about all that's going to happen to K-State in the future, I'm thrilled because I know that, just like me, K-State knows the power of holding on to your passions while discovering new paths. That's a little bit of my story, but I'm only one of thousands here at Kansas State. Every student has their own unique trajectory. Undergraduate experience is one of the core themes that the new campaign for K-State will focus on, to further strengthen the culture of learning and excellence. So allow me to introduce our next guest. The bond that many students and faculty members make can result in such unique partnerships, many that can last a lifetime. This next faculty member has had a profound impact on many of his students through his unique teaching methods, but his collaboration and friendship with two specific students is such an incredible story. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dr. Michael Wesch, Associate Professor of Anthropology.
It's like rockin' music. So some of you, you might have had the same teacher I had. I had this teacher, Marty Ottenheimer, when I was a student here, started 20 years ago. And he taught anthropology in Umberger. I don't know if you guys remember Umberger, big room, 490 students would sit in there. And somehow the things that he was saying to me were changing my life and making me ask questions I'd never asked before. And those questions ended up taking me all over the world because the answers couldn't be found in books. It was like the great kind of question that leads you on a quest. And so then, as fate would have it, I actually got his job. I came back, and he was retiring just as I was getting my PhD, and I got his job, and I was actually standing in the same spot where I used to sit because Umberger had shifted. They redesigned Umberger, and now I'm standing in the very spot where I used to sit, and it's like this really amazing moment. And I'm talking to 450 students, and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm putting everything into this. Surely I'm inspiring them. They're going to go see the world. And so one day I thought, okay, I need to check in. Let's see what kinds of questions they're asking. So I came in about halfway through the semester, and I told them the same thing I just told you. I told them about Marty Ottenheimer, how he lit me up with questions. And I said, so what about you guys? Like, do you have any questions? And this guy rose his hand, and he says, do we get points for this? and then like after that, the next question was like, there was a test coming up. There was like, what's going to be on the test? I was like, oh. So I was like, this is no good. So then I started going. I realized I needed to get to know my students better. So I started taking my lunch with students, and just about the time I started doing this, I'd invite students to my office. I just have really deep conversations with them. And one girl came in one day, and she told me about when she was 8 years old. She's in the backseat of her car with her little brother, and her mom was doing flashcards for them. And her little brother was outdoing her on all the flashcards. She's 8 years old, and she thought, I'm just not smart. And that kind of stuck with her, and she started playing that role, like all the way through high school. And when I met her, she's in my office, and she said, you know, I've been faking it so long, I don't even know who I am. And it struck me like, oh, there's the big question, like, who am I? And then I met another kid who had gone off to Florida to go to school, and it didn't work out. And he came back to K-State, he's a Kansas kid, and he's just trying to find his place in the world. I thought, oh, there's another big question. What's my place in the world? And I thought, is my big lecture hall speaking to those questions? And so then I thought, what would speak to those questions? What could I do? And I realized, you know, anthropology is all about meeting people and engaging the world and putting yourself out there. And I thought, maybe we could do that right here. So I teamed up with Metal Arc Hills. It's a retirement community up on the hill from here. And as soon as I did, they welcomed me and actually led my students down the hall and showed them their own room, which they would live in for the next semester. And for the last 3 years, Metal Arc Hills has allowed my students to actually live in the retirement community every spring semester for the whole semester. And these students just dive into their lives, and they share so much. You know, there's such a rich engagement across the generations. And in the process, they gather over 100 hours of material, and then they have to find a way to tell a great story about it so they can convey the transformations that they've had to a larger audience. And so here's one example of what a couple students did. They got over 100 hours material and then made this amazing 9-minute video in which they really dive into the lives of these residents. This is what it looks like.
I was born November the 12th, 1931.
No, I was born in 1934.
I was born in 1923.
I was born in 24.
Mother had all us children at home. Doctor came out and delivered us.
We were all born at home, no hospital.
I was born and raised on a farm.
Middle of the road, dryland farm. Dad always kept it up.
That was a very innocent time of my life.
And this is a 9-minute video, so I'm just speeding it up through the middle. But they really live the whole life that they hear. These people went to World War II. They were torn apart. Then they brought back together. They raised families together. And they really they just threw themselves into these stories, right into retirement. And then that sad moment where they have to enter
when you're a
the home.
caregiver for a long time, it runs you down.
He went to sleep that night and never did wake up.
And he died the last part of January. He just died in his sleep, basically. He just looked like he always did. But you can't get him back.
That was hard, because I really, really missed him.
Boy, I missed him. It just hit me that way. He wasn't here. To live in this world,
you must be able to do 3 things.
To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones,
knowing that your own life depends on it.
and when the time comes,
To let it go.
let it go.
Is there anything else you want to say to the two 20-some-year-olds sitting here listening to your advice?
To the two 20-year-olds, I would say I would be happy if they could be my children. That I have loved them to death, and they would make perfect children.
At what point did you guys think? So this film went on to have great success. It took them all the way to Paris, where it showed in a film festival, and thanks to philanthropy, they were able to go without spending any of their own money. and I'd like to introduce them now. This is Jordan Thomas and Kinsey Wade.
Thank you. So normally when I prepare for a class, I buy a really expensive textbook and I look over the syllabus. But there was nothing that could have prepared me as a 19-year-old to leave the dorms and move into a retirement home.
So I remember on my first day, I walk in, head held high, and I have a notepad in my hand, and I feel like this new age anthropologist who is descending into this elderly jungle. And within 2 seconds, I'm ambushed by this woman named Helen. And Helen, she's tiny. She has this really bright colored sweater on, a little pink bow in her hair, but she is attacking us with questions. Just everything about my 19-year-old life, she wants to know it. And at that point, I realized that I am going to be studied just as much as I was there to study them. So at first, living in Meadowlark was really hard because we viewed people like Helen just like homework. Because I was used to taking tests and taking notes. And as the semester moved along, suddenly I'd come home from class and I'd find cookies outside of my door. Or I'd check the clock and it was really late and I was still playing board games in the lobby. And then I'd wake up really early the next morning to have breakfast with the biscuits and gravy bunch. So after a while, it wasn't homework, but these were real relationships. And our video was a product of those real relationships.
I met Bonnie during the first couple weeks at Meadowlark Hills. I would go play board games with her and all of her friends at night, and she was the one who taught me all the skills and intricacies to dominoes and rummy cube. She usually let me win. Seriously, but as the semester moved along, Bonnie and I got a lot closer, and one day she invited me up to her room. I showed up, and the first thing I noticed was that her room was just full of boxes. So I ignored the clutter at first and sat down, and we got to talking. Then finally, I just asked her if she wanted some help unpacking. She immediately perked up and said, yeah, she'd love that. So I got to work, moving things around, unpacking boxes. And what I came to realize was that each box was just full of stories. So a piece of polished driftwood, for example, could just transport Bonnie back to a picnic beside the river with her husband after the war. And sometimes it's hard to explain exactly what it was like to live as a college student in a retirement home for a semester. But it might help you to imagine what it was like one morning when I came down to breakfast and I saw that Bonnie had a bruise covering half of her face from where she had fallen trying to answer the phone that morning. She had gotten a concussion and the doctor didn't know if she was going to be okay yet. And I think it was in that moment that I realized we weren't at Meadowlark Hills just unboxing stories from the residents, but we had become active parts in this greater story that was continuously unfolding around us. So at Meadowlark Hills, we learned from books, just like in any other class. But the really deep learning, that came from our relationships with the residents.
So in our journey at K-State, Jordan and I found this intense wonder for the world around us. And that was just given to us by Dr. Wesh. So we're going to bring him back out.
Thanks. So I'm mostly just going to pay homage to them and tell you about kind of the structure of the class and what makes it different. So it's really kind of inspired by, see if I can find it here. Maybe the video seems to have been removed, I'm sorry. So it was inspired by this idea that grades maybe don't really capture a real experience. And I didn't want to just know my students as letters. You think about what happens when you grade people. You put these grades on them, and suddenly they're just known as letters, and they themselves see themselves as a letter grade. And if you get an A, you're kind of happy and maybe feeling kind of complacent. And you're not going to really work extra hard because you've already got that A. And the D's and F's feel disenfranchised and maybe just kind of give up altogether. And really, what happened was I got very inspired by my son George to change this. You look at what he's doing, and here he is, just trying to learn to go down steps, and I have 59 of these. I'm going to make you watch them all. And this just keeps going. This is months and months. Just keeps on trying, and at no point did I say that's a D. You're done. You can't redo it. And now he's done his A, and what does he do? He goes right back and he does it again. And he just keeps doing it because it's joyful and it's amazing, and that's what real learning is like. And so I wanted to create a sense of real learning. And so I thought about crafting a totally different vision for what learning could be. Instead of a syllabus where they turn in stuff and I grade it and then that's it, let's put them all at the base of a big mountain. And at the top of the mountain, we're going to make something worth it. And you're going to pitch it to them. You're going to say, come on this journey with me. This is going to be worth it. And then we start, kind of break it down and say, okay, just come with me. I know it's a high mountain, but if you just follow me up, we'll go to, step 1, step 2, we'll get there. And they start climbing that mountain. And of course, some of them fall behind. And instead of giving them a D and saying, you're doing, you get a 60%, that's it, you say, you're not there yet, but we're going to help you. We're going to help you get to that platform. We're not going to leave you behind. You're not going to be at 60% forever. Everybody's going to be 100%. And so people start helping each other, and they get up to that next platform. And pretty soon they start working together, and they find all kinds of new ways to work together. And I know these are just sketches, but for me, I see real events through all of these things. I see real people and the real struggles that we've gone through to create these projects. About midway through the project, we always kind of hit this point where things get really hard, and everybody's really kind of trying to make their way up this mountain. But we make it, and that struggle through it kind of bonds us together, and you start to see the top, and it's amazing toward the end of the semester the way people can hit their stride, and they go racing up to the top, to that place that's worth it. But what's cool about this moment is that this is when they realize that final project they were doing is maybe not so final after all. That in fact, the real project was not the thing they created, but themselves. And that's what's really worth it. There's such a transformation process that can happen so that the project itself is so amazing and so beautiful, and I love watching it, but the real effect is what it does for the students and how it changes them. So that little kid from Florida is something different. He's transformed. That little kid from California is transformed. And they get there through all the bumps and falls, and they take joy in those falls. They take a different approach to failure, a different approach to success. Because the reality is we're not just training these kids just for jobs or to make a living. We're trying to help them make a life worth living. And to make a life worth living requires all kinds of skills that can't be taught just in something that can be found in a letter grade. So that kid who came here from Florida, and the Kansas kid came here from Florida, eventually, after that video, Jordan got on a bike. He said it started heading south, and he was trying to find his place in the world. And instead of just finding his place, he started paying attention to how other people were finding their place, how people from all over the world were finding their place. And it started to help him understand where he was at. And then Kinsey, that little girl who, decided she wasn't smart when she was 8, traveled the world as well and smartened up a bit, realized just how smart she really is and all the talent she has. This is a thing that she's actually started a business they're both starting, in which they're trying to create sustainable proteins from insect proteins. And it's already taking off, and it's just amazing to see them go out into the world with such courage and do something they're so passionate about. Because again, it's not the project, it was all about them, and it just couldn't happen without all of us sort of wrapping our arms around them and lifting them up and giving them the support they need. And so I want to thank you for all of that.
So much to Dr. Wesh, Mackenzie, and Jordan for that moving presentation. Just fun fact, talking about the closeness of the K-State family, I took cultural anthropology, and that semester, Mackenzie was my recitation teacher while she was living in Meadowlark. So I got some of those stories in real time. It's just awesome. You can find a longer version of their digital ethnography piece, To Live in This World, on YouTube. But now it's time for a little music. Thanks to the generosity of our donors, K-State is exclusively a Steinway piano institution. Tonight's performance is a specially commissioned piece by my dear friend Blake Cordell, a junior double majoring in theater and music, and poet Catherine Strayhall, a junior majoring in English creative writing. Performing the piece on Steinway piano is Amanda Krieg, senior in piano performance, and accompanying her to perform spoken word is my favorite scene partner, Rachel Hunt, senior in music.
Snow walks on a quiet campus offer an icy peace. A boy plays guitar outside the dorm as winter shifts to spring. And the next year, she finds herself dancing in the cool air and laughing at finding herself where she was always meant to be. There's a time on Friday evenings when campus is nearly empty and the wind in the trees fills the silence and the light of the setting sun speckles her face, and just being in that spot that she loves heals her. The distance between two homes sometimes seems impossibly far, but then she thinks of a night out in the freezing cold, full of laughs and joy and thousands of miles, of good friends and warm coffee on a birthday afternoon, of university gardens at twilight. And she smiles, because there's nothing more beautiful after being away than 9 white letters on the Kansas hillside welcoming her home.
Thank you to Amanda and Rachel for that inspiring performance. Next up, a look at some of our world-class facilities. The Biosecurity Research Institute, or BRI, located at Pat Roberts Hall here on campus, is a unique biocontainment research and education facility. The BRI supports comprehensive farm-to-fork infectious disease research programs that address threats to plant, animal, and human health. Home to 113,000 square feet of education and training facilities, including state-of-the-art classrooms and a dedicated training laboratory, the BRI provides a unique opportunity to collaborate research involving K-State researchers and scientists from other academic, federal, and private research institutions. In this next short video, you'll observe a day in the life at the Biosecurity Research Institute featuring Dr. Stephen Higgs.
There is no other facility equivalent to the Kansas State University's Biosecurity Research Institute. What we do here is conduct research and training and education on high consequence pathogens. We're working on diagnostics, we're working on vaccines. We're breaking new ground. We're the only facility in the world that can conduct research, education, and training activities on a combination of animal diseases, human diseases, plant diseases, and foodborne pathogens. There's nowhere else like that. We're always looking to the future as to what we can do to make the world a safer place. Philanthropy impacts what we do at the Biosecurity Research Institute every day. I can't emphasize that enough. It's enabling us to sustain research here, to promote new research, and enable our trainees, our undergraduates and our graduates to go out and get experience that they just simply could not have without the support of the BRI. You know, you have my commitment and the commitment of everybody that works at the BRI that your donations will make a difference. We promise that.
I can imagine that being a student athlete can be tough to manage, especially when your major is engineering. Our next presenter made it work to the point where he excels in both. Introducing senior in mechanical engineering and member of the K-State basketball team, Brian Rolliter.
Thank you, Darrington. Growing up as a kid, I always had a dream of playing Division I basketball. I always imagined that one day I'd be playing in front of an arena full of people. I also dreamed that I would get a college degree and solve the world's problems. But these are dreams that many kids have, but not many get to realize. I have been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to make these things happen here at K-State, and I am living the dream. In my time on campus, I've developed not only as a person, but as a player as well. Being a student athlete can be tough to manage, especially majoring in engineering, while juggling the demanding schedule of basketball, practice, homework, and internships. But K-State has made all of this possible. And I would say that being a successful student athlete is my proudest accomplishment. And so being here at K-State and being a student athlete, I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of opportunities. One of these is having a great internship experience with GE Johnson Construction Company. Now, being a student athlete, I don't have very many opportunities to travel anywhere in the summer because we're required to stay in Manhattan for summer training, which is fine. But sometimes that can hurt when you're trying to find an internship and get experience. But through connection with the donor that I was able to make through basketball, I was able to work on the West Stadium at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. And that's something that I jumped on the opportunity with. GE Johnson Construction Company was a great company, and being a part of a K-State landmark was just amazing. And still, even to this day, I get to benefit from it. Every time that I'm eating breakfast and dinner, I'm sitting there in the performance table in West Stadium, and I just think, wow, I was able to be a part of this and have my hand in this. That's something I take a lot of pride in. And also, too, with basketball, I've had a lot of opportunities to travel that I never would have imagined going. I've been to places such as Brazil, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, New York, Los Angeles, just to name a few. So I've truly been lucky in being able to see the world. I've also been fortunate to be the Student Athlete Advisory Committee president. So the Student Athlete Advisory Committee is sort of the voice of the student athletes.
all the teams have representatives. We are together on this committee, and we do a lot of things, but mostly community service, but also enhancing the student-athlete experience. And so being able to be president has given me a great opportunity to interact with not only other teams, but also with the Manhattan community as well. And then also being able to do things such as play in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that was something I always watched growing up as a kid. And I thought, man, one day I might get there. But I've been able to do it here. I've also been a Big 12 champion. I have a championship ring. I have those memories and those relationships with those teammates and coaches that I can cherish forever. And I really am living the childhood dream. But through all of this, it was hard, and sometimes I wanted to quit. But it was because of the people here at K-State and the support that I received that enabled me to keep going. I can't emphasize enough how much K-State is a special place. People care, and they really want me to succeed. And after a while, I realized I wasn't just doing this for myself anymore. I was doing this for all the other people out there who have supported me along the way. And I don't think I could have accomplished everything that I have now anywhere else. And so as I went along and was fortunate to receive some engineering scholarships each year, doing well in school, and also receiving an athletic scholarship finally this spring, it just made me realize how hard work really does pay off, and it does get rewarded, and that somebody is noticing. And the greatest time in my life is thanks to philanthropy. But philanthropy goes much further than paying bills, further than my education. It makes me, as a student athlete, try harder in the classroom to allow me to give the same opportunity that I have to someone else. And so I think about the future of K-State. I think about where we are, but also where we could be. And we have that goal of becoming a top 50 public research university. Now I'm going on my 5th year here, and I think about what's changed since I first stepped on campus, which is a lot. I now get to use the basketball training facility, which is top of the line, and not very many student athletes get to experience those kind of facilities. I also think about the new engineering building that's going on, the new business building, the transformation that Bill Snyder Family Stadium has undergone in the past 4 years. And I really think that K-State, we've done a lot of great things, but we can elevate our status. Why not become a role model for the rest of the world? Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for sharing your story. You're truly making a lasting impact on K-State's proud athletics legacy on and off the playing field. Athletics is just one of our 7 themes of our Inspiration and Innovation campaign, directly supporting the goals of K-State 2025. For more information about all campaign themes, please visit our brand new campaign microsite at inspire.k-state.edu. For our next inspiring insight into K-State philanthropy in action, we'll fly on over to Salina campus to meet a K-State graduate who is already taking his career to new heights. Here are a few words from Lieutenant Andrew Talbot, a proud member of America's elite Daredevil squadron, the Blue Angels.
Aviation became a dream of mine, actually with a trip to the Kennedy Space Center when I was 4 years old with my parents. Before I graduated high school, I did a tour at Kansas State University, Salina. The staff was very welcoming and hospitable, and the brand new airplanes at the time they had and the facilities they had just blew me away. The smaller and dynamic classrooms and kind of that one-on-one instruction really sold me immediately, and I knew exactly that right then and there that I wanted to come to college in Salina. I actually came to a halt my first semester in college, realizing that I didn't have enough funds to even make tuition the next semester, much less the flight time and training. And I stopped in the financial aid office with little knowledge of what to do, and they literally saved me from dropping out of school. And I was able to keep my grades up, and throughout every semester I kept gaining more and more scholarships that resulted in maybe $400 or $500, all the way up to $1,500, and it really helped me to pursue my goals, so it was great. To those donors that made my journey possible, I just can't ever thank them enough. It's a truly blessing that they were able to do that. It's a testimony of faith, and this education has led me all the way to where I am today. To say that I graduated from Kansas State is really something that I will take with me my whole life.
Thank you to Laurel Luttrell for composing this beautiful original piece. The performance was led by band director Dr. Frank Trace, with members of the K-State Marching Band and supported by visuals that overview our new campaign.
Which brings us to why we are all here tonight. Innovation and inspiration.
The campaign for Kansas State University has begun. It will propel us all towards K-State 2025.
To give us his own perspective on what this campaign means and why it matters to all of us, please welcome our university president, Dr. Kirk Schultz.
Good job. Well done.
Thank you.
So you ready? Let's
Yeah.
do it right here. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Well, you know, I have a simple job to do tonight. They say we're going to have all this inspiring stuff. We're going to have students and faculty and staff. Please just don't screw it up. So what a great evening to be a Wildcat. Big cheer for Kansas State University tonight. Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to thank all of the folks that were involved tonight, our students, our faculty and staff, the presenters. Everything we've heard tonight really reinforces the reason that philanthropy is important for Kansas State University, whether it's giving our students great opportunities to live in these experiences, our faculty, and you saw Professor Michael Wesch and Frank Trace and others up here tonight that do a great job, not just educating our students, but transforming our students and giving them that opportunity to do great things as they leave Kansas State and to come back and make sure that future generations of K-Staters have those same sort of things. Every single one of us is unique and has a unique story, and that's what I believe makes K-State, frankly, such a special place. Seeing philanthropy in action, as we've done tonight, has to be one of the most rewarding experiences and aspects of giving. And your generosity, every single person in the room tonight, is the foundation of K-State's success in the past, today, and certainly in the future. So let me take this opportunity to thank all of you for your endless enthusiasm and your commitment to greatness, to K-State 2025, to our top 50 goals, and making sure that we continue for future generations of students, making sure this is an awesome place. It means the world to me, our faculty and staff, and most of all to our students, past, present, and future, your commitment to greatness. Which brings us to why we're here this evening. Let's bring the drum line on stage to help celebrate. Yeah, I was hoping they were going to come out, so that could have been embarrassing otherwise. So. Go ahead, come on. Come on, we got room. You know, during rehearsal, it was like there'll be just a few people, so it's a little larger than I thought. So the journey towards our 2025 vision takes another huge step forward tonight as we launch the public phase of innovation and inspiration. So are you ready to see how much money we've raised this year? All right, let's try again. That's all right. I can't possibly hear a thing now, but anyway, to help us really continue to celebrate this evening, we've got this big tent set up there. We got champagne. We got lots of fun times. So we hope everybody will follow our band out and continue to celebrate the evening. And thank you for all you do for Kansas State University. Go Cats, and let's beat TCU. Thank you.